Hello, everybody. This is Johnny S. coming with another game review video. Today, we're going to do something different. I'm going to review a couple of fighting games, four to be exact. The reason why I'm doing this is because I try to keep the video short. I don't want to go into a lot of detail. Fighting games are quite simple games. I mean, there's not much. It's not a strategy game or some other game. To those who have not played fighting games at all, which is, not to say that there's no players like that. A fighting game is basically one vs one or more than one vs one. It is usually a side view of the screen where you watch, as you can see in the background. I will have the games. These are the four games that we're going to discuss and talk about. I will have them play on the background all the time. If you want at any point of time, you can have a look on each one of them. I've got some content from behind. This is the reason why I want to do it all together as well. So there's no, don't spend a lot of time. Um, So usually the concept is that it's a side view from the platform level. Let's say you can see your character and your opponent, or more than one opponent, depending on the game. The ones that we're going to discuss, they do have tag mode, which means you group up with a guy on your side, and there's more than one guy on the other side. Sorry. Um, you have rounds that can be modified, so it's like best out of five. Whoever wins two rounds first wins. You can have best out of three. Whoever wins one round wins, and so forth. You have your power bar. There's specific, skill bars. Each one of these games, they use their own elements and to make the fight more interesting. And it does require a little bit of skill. What I mean by skill is you have to get used to the moves. So each one of these characters that you're going to select, they have some basic moves like punching and hitting and grabbing and everything. Then they have some special moves, which is usually, you have to charge up a bar and you have to do some special power as such. Um, and you need to utilize all this in order to beat your opponent. If you're playing the arcade mode, that most of these games have arcade mode, you're basically going through, a set amount of opponents until you reach the end game, like a boss, let's say, which is just like an opponent but a little bit harder. And once you finish him, you finish the game. So that's the general concept of fighting games. I know that many of you will think, why is he saying this? Okay, some guys might not be aware of it. So the four games that I've chosen, I have played all four and do have all four of these games, and I think they're really really worth it. And the reason why I have selected these four games is because these are the latest, let's say, as of today that I'm making the video. They're very graphical, appealing, and each one of these games has predecessors as well. So you know what I mean? So the top left hand side corner, let's start with just explaining what you can see on the background. We have Street Fighter 6. Okay, so Street Fighter 6 on the top left hand corner, available from Steam at €40. Uh, I know my screen might be vice versa, so my top left hand corner is here, uh, which is my right hand side, but it's split. So that's a €40 game. All of these games are highly recommended by me for anybody. On the top right hand corner, we see MK1. This is the latest of the Mortal Kombat, games. And that's available also at Steam. A little bit more expensive. It's on €50, so €10 difference. On the bottom left-hand corner, we see Tekken 8 to be exact. There has obviously mainly been, there has been many, many different Tekkens. Um, Tekken is the most expensive in our list. It's on €70, available via Steam. And on the bottom right hand side, we have Injustice League 2, or called Injustice 2, which is at €50. So Around, they're around the same price. Let's say it's between like the 40 and the 70 mark. There's some discounts, like I think Street Fighter at the moment is €40, but usually it's like 60 to 70 euros. So in Steam you're going to find different prices for each one of them, and there are discounts and there's periods where you get like like a sale period. Um, so these are the four games. There's many predecessors to these games. They have all excellent, good graphics. So what I will do now is, as the footage plays in the black background, I'm going to go through each one of these and just talk like 1 minute on each, and just to give a little bit of overview, and yeah, and try to keep it simple. So on the left hand side, we see the Street Fighter Six. There has been obviously many Street Fighters for many different years. So we're starting from like Street Fighter 1, 2, 3, Turbo, Alpha Series, Zero Series, EX Plus. There has been many hybrids. Street Fighter 6 is the latest one at the moment. It has good graphics. The concept is kind of like anime, but on 3D. So it's like manga drawings, but on 3D, perception. Very good graphics. The skill for this game is, out of all the games, I would say this one has the highest skill. The input of the combinations is heavily direction based, which means that you need to use more precise, let's say, input and timings in order to execute your moves. All these games they can be played with a joystick, so it is preferred. Many people have joysticks with like 8 button or 6 button layer. It's kind of because they have a lot of different buttons and stuff. So yeah, you can just see on the background like a couple of rounds. What this is Ken vs what's his name? Via the guy with the red red pants. Uh, and as you can see, you can do combos and you can do all the nice little things. Moving along to Mortal Kombat MK1 or Mortal Kombat 1. Don't let the name fool you. There has been many Mortal Kombats. If I'm not mistaken, the one before this one, which is the latest one, was Mortal Kombat 11, and there's many other ones in between. So you might not have Mortal Kombat 2, 3, 4. Then it might have been Mortal Kombat Mythology, Mortal Kombat something else. There's been many Mortal Kombats. Each time they're getting better and better and better on the graphics. The feel and the environment of the Mortal Kombat is much more realistic. I do not recommend it for small kids. In contrast to Street Fighter, where any age can play the game. It's much more realistic. It's much more graphical. There's a lot more blood. In some cases, it becomes a little bit disgusting in the sense of the fatalities. So once you beat your character, there's a fatality option that you can use. You can like execute your opponent. It's quite graphical. Um, Also, a very good game if you're into the more graphic content, let's say. What we see now in the background is Raiden, is one of the gods of Mortal Kombat. He's the lightning god. That's why you can see him teleport from here and there. And he's actually playing a double class. So it's like a tag game. Um, on the bottom left hand side corner, we see Tekken. At the moment, it's Tekken 8. Obviously, there has been another 7 before that. Very good game. Again, 3D graphical. If I will say it's something in between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. So it's not as graphic as Mortal Kombat, but it's not as cartoonish as Street Fighter 6. So it does have like a more realistic, let's say, look, but it doesn't have so much blood. Um, if I had to differentiate Tekken 8, just to give a little bit of a heads up so that people that will get into it, it has a different control system. It's much more directional and button combination. So let's say in Street Fighter 1, you had to do like a semicircle forward and then press a button that will create a fireball. Similarly on Mortal Kombat, that's why I didn't mention Mortal Kombat. You do like semicircle forward, you press a button. On Tekken, it's usually forward and 2 buttons, then backward and another 2 buttons, down and another button. So you're doing combinations as such with Tekken. Uh, and depending on how good you get with these combinations, you can actually do like a 10 hit combo. I think there's 15, 20 hit combos and everything. Each character in all these games has its own strengths and weaknesses, obviously. And lastly, on the bottom right hand side, we see Injustice 2. There was Injustice 1. I don't think there was an Injustice League game before that. That is also a little bit more heavy on the graphical side, so I do not recommend it for kids, even though it is, it's more like a hero oriented. So you have Batman, Superman, as you can see, Batman at the moment, Black Woman are fighting. Uh, you know, there are some options in these games that you can disable the gore, let's say, but nevertheless like Mortal Kombat, you can never get it to be like kid friendly let's say. On Injustice 2, I think there is an option to turn like the a lot of the graphical content out. Again, I do not recommend this for little kids because, like I said, they're fighting games, and it's not the best suited for specific ages and below. So yeah, these are my four favorite. I have played all of these games. I own all these games, and I have played most of the predecessors. I will not say all of them. In some games, there's no big differences. Let's say for Street Fighter, for example, there was a huge change when Street Fighter 4 came out. Huge change. The graphics updated. Street Fighter 5, I did not play at all a lot. Street Fighter 6, I did get my hands into it, and out of all of them, it is the best one. MK1, very nice. I have played the MK11. I had played the MK not 10X. The, there's mainly that I've played there as well. This one I do consider to be the best one, and each one of these ones is much superior to its predecessor, at least when it comes to the graphic quality and the responsiveness. So obviously, each one of these companies has taken care to actually progress and update their engines, their mechanics, and so forth. There are people that will prefer, let's say, instead of Street Fighter 6, they will prefer Street Fighter 5, or instead of Injustice 2, they might say Injustice 1 was the best for me. It depends on your like. That's a matter of opinion and whatever suits you best. I'm just showcasing the latest and the price range for each one of these, just so you get an idea if you want to get into it. So yeah, they are fun. You can play versus as well. If you have two controllers, you can get your friend to join and you can have some fun. You can play with your friends on your lounge if you have like a console, PlayStation or Xbox. I don't remember if each one of these ones are available on what console they're available. I have them on a computer by Steam. Uh, so yeah, this is a fighting game review for the top four, let's say, most common that I will, recommend to whoever's interested to get your hands on to them. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.